Hey ninjas, welcome back. In this video we're going to talk about the top 5 ways how to sell your stuff online, and we're going to taking you through the pros and the cons so that you can decide for yourself what is the easiest way for you to make money. Hey, my name is Sylvia Myers, and together with my husband Kristen, we are the founders of Traffic Ninjas. We have worked with over 500 e-commerce brands all around the world, and over the years we have essentially learned what works and what doesn't, and what are the easiest ways to make money selling stuff online so that you can get that steady income. So let's get right into that. So we're going to be talking about the 5 top ways how to sell your stuff online, and specifically we'll be going through Etsy, Amazon, eBay, Facebook Marketplace, and building your own store on a platform such as Shopify. And will be talking about how these are different so that you can decide what's best for you. So let's talk about Etsy and Amazon first. What is Etsy and Amazon? Etsy and Amazon are essentially marketplaces. They are similar in a way that both of these are platforms that drive customers to their stores, and essentially you are listing your product on there. Where they differ is that essentially Etsy is designed for artisans or for boutique market sellers who essentially make their own product, while Amazon is essentially set up for brands or businesses that want to sell a lot of stock that typically competes on price. So there is a little bit of a similarity there. There is also a difference. Now, what is the advantage and disadvantage of Etsy, first of all? Now, when you have your product on Etsy, the major advantage is that you don't necessarily have to work so hard to get customers see your products, because Etsy covers that. Now, then brings us also to the same disadvantage that your product will be shown next to your competitors, which can hurt your sales. Etsy is also designed to sell individual products, so they will be charging you essentially per listing, not necessarily per account, if that makes sense. So there is some advantages and disadvantages there. If you're literally just starting out and you only have a couple of artisan products and you want to test them, then Etsy could be a really good option for you. Now, if you want to sell a product that you know it's in demand and you know you can sell a lot of it, Amazon could be a good choice for you, and specifically what's called fulfilled by Amazon, which means that essentially you order products, you stock them in Amazon warehouse, and you create a product listing. People come to the Amazon platform to buy your product, and then Amazon fulfills them as well. In theory, this sounds very simple and lucrative. However, in practice, and having had an Amazon FBA business, this in practice is not actually so profitable. The reason why it's not so profitable is essentially, in my opinion, Amazon tends to work for Amazon, which means that if something is selling really well and a lot of it, Amazon tends to put its own product in there and label it as Amazon's choice and put it on top of the search results. Also, when you're selling on Amazon and even on Etsy, you don't necessarily have that connection to your customers. So many of these customers are literally just coming to these platforms to buy nameless products at the best price, and they're not necessarily looking for a connection with the brand. So hardly ever you see any repeat customers come to buy more of your product or more of your other products that you've got. Because essentially on these platforms, you are not necessarily appearing as a store. Specifically on Amazon, you are not necessarily appearing as a store with a shop front, but you literally just have separate product listings. So that would be the downside of Amazon. However, if you've never done any e-commerce stuff before and you want to give it a go, then I do suggest that you really research what are some of the products they're selling well on Amazon, how much are they going for, not how much they are listed for, but how much they are actually going for. There is many websites where you could check this data. For example, there is a website called Camel where you can check this data, and that will be showing you how much has it been actually selling for, and you can order like a small batch of 500 units and have it shipped to the Amazon warehouse, and essentially essentially get your feet tapped into e-commerce so that you can get the gist of what selling stuff online is all about. Now let's talk about platforms such as eBay or Facebook Marketplace. Why am I putting these two together? Because eBay and Marketplace are essentially originally designed as platforms where sellers are reselling used stuff as a one-off items. Sure, even on Facebook Marketplace and even on eBay, you can find new items too, but the way it's been designed, it's essentially that there is a seller who is trying to get rid of a product, and there is a buyer who wants to buy a product. For example, if you have a used bicycle that you no longer need, you can list it on eBay and on Marketplace, and you can list it on both and start essentially having inquiries from people and then negotiate the best price. Now, what is the pro and what is the con of platforms such as Facebook Marketplace and eBay? Now, big advantage of both of these platforms is that you can literally start selling stuff that you have at home that you no longer need. So honestly, like, you can make $1,000 just with having stuff lying around. So that's a huge advantage. Also on Facebook Marketplace, there are no fees. There is some fees on eBay. There is, like, depending on what you're going for. On Facebook Marketplace, unless you want to like boost your listing and advertise for it, there is literally no fees to pay at all. So that's all an advantage, but the disadvantage is to essentially make a business out of this. The reason why it's a disadvantage is because you have to list every item individually, and then often you just go back and forth with people, back and forth. Recently, we've been moving houses, and countries as well. So we've been selling things like monitors and desks and lights and bicycles and all of these different things that we couldn't take with us in our suitcase. And the biggest amount of time was essentially going back and forth, answering simple questions that already were inside the listing, like how big is this, how old is it, can you give me a better price, and all of these things over and over. So when is the point that you want to be selling stuff on eBay and you want to be selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace? In my personal opinion, it's a great start to build cash so that you eventually can build an e-commerce brand that gives you steady income. But building an e-commerce brand can take a little while. So while you're building your e-commerce brand and you are learning how to get the right traffic to your store, how to make sales, while you are doing that, you can sell stuff that you no longer need. You can go to a thrift store and like pick some items that you know can be resold for more, list them on Facebook Marketplace or eBay, and essentially collect that profit. Many people are making essentially a whole income out of that. Just be mindful of the fact that it's not passive or scalable income, because it's going to be taking a lot of your time to choose the items you want to sell, to take pictures of those individual items, to be listing all of those individual items, and then to be going back and forth with people, negotiating, having items dropped off or picking them up from somewhere, or people coming to your house, all of these different things. So it's a great way to really build that cash, to build that income, so that you essentially can build a brand that's going to be looking after you and your family with a steady income. Which brings me to the fifth way, and that's essentially building an e-commerce store. So personally, me, if I were to start all over again, I would be building a store on a platform such as Shopify, because it's super easy. It's got all of the updates inbuilt in there already. So you essentially plug in your theme, and whatever new technology comes in, it's automatically updated, and you don't have to hire anybody for coding or designers or anything like that. You just pay a monthly fee and then a transaction fee. Now, building an e-commerce brand though is something that might take you a little bit more time to create, but then it really has that potential to have not just a scalable business for generations to come, but also an asset that you can resell as a brand. Because if you have, for example, an Amazon business or an Etsy business, it ends up being really difficult to resell because it's often just like product listings, right? But if you have a brand in a Shopify store, then that becomes an asset. And in fact, one of my friends has literally put 2 weeks into building an e-commerce store, and like 2 months later he sold that store for $10,000, guys, no kidding. So you can flip a business, or you can have that business. You can flip a business if you love building those businesses and then selling them, or you can build your brand if you're really passionate about what you're selling or passionate about your customer. So in my opinion, that, as I said, takes a little bit longer to set it up, but then it gives you that income for a long time to come. And you can run it from anywhere. You can move to any part of the world and essentially still have that successful business. Now, there are some things though that you've got to know about having a successful e-commerce store, such as built on a Shopify platform. And the things are that you want to carefully choose what essentially you want to be selling in terms of your niche, like who is your customer that you're going to be serving. And ideally, you want to have multiple products as a store, as a brand, rather than just like one product where customers will be like, okay, I buy them this one product and then what, right? Also, it's going to be more profitable when you have multiple products serving one customer, because that way it's essentially like a store where people come in, they browse, they buy multiple products. Now, if you are sold on that idea and you really do want to build up that store, there's a link below. You can open your Shopify store today with a free trial. But also you want to start learning as to how to market and sell your product, which we've got a video for as well. So there you go, guys. The top 5 ways how to sell your stuff online and make money. So Etsy, Amazon, eBay, Facebook Marketplace, and building a brand on platforms such as Shopify. The last one, just a summary, you can build a business that you can resell, or you essentially can have an income for generations to come. Facebook Marketplace and eBay are a little bit more active. They can help you build cash real fast, but you've got to be really active and put in the hours into it. So it's really a lot of hustling, which if you want to quit your job or if you don't have a job, can be a great way to build up cash to then build your brand. And Amazon listing is essentially a great way to tap your feet into e-commerce and understand how that works. However, you've got to understand that you are in the mercy of the platforms. The same with Etsy, you are in the mercy of that platform. However, it's a great platform for artisan products, and if you do make products in small batches, it could be a great way for you to sell your stuff online there too. So guys, if you haven't yet, do subscribe, do let us know how you like this video, what questions have you got, and I cannot wait to see you next time. Bye.